Hello there, fellow simmers, and welcome to, where the hell are we, may be wondering? Well, today I wanted to show you something special, because it's been a while since I uploaded something on the channel. What you can see in front of you on the screen is Blackville, my previous hood that I used to run before I started Serpent's Tail on the channel. I figured I'd make some sort of a tour of this hood that we have here, so that you have a clearer picture of where we are going with the Serpent's Tail. This hood is currently at year 4, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is year 4 and round 1, so it is spring right now. But you should take into account that when I started this hood, I used a longer lifetime span. So it took me significantly longer to advance everything here, because it took more time for the Sims to grow up, and well, it was a drag. But this is what I finally got at some point. Of course, it's far from being finished, but it's more or less interesting to see. So that is exactly what we are gonna do today. And I think a good way to start would be actually at the mind map that I created to keep track of everything that I had here. So let's head on there. Yep, here we are. As you can see, it says here Blackville, and yeah, I was right. It's year 4, season 1 in Blackville. As you can see, I have kind of a similar template to keep track of everything in the hood, though the layout is significantly different from what we have for Serpent's Tail. Yeah, that's because just before I started my channel, I brushed up the rules that I uploaded, as well as the template. What you will see here in the file, keep in mind that it may no longer be relevant to Serpent's Tail. For instance, you can see that the prices for different tasks sometimes are higher. You can see that power station, for instance, cost 200,000, which was, well, quite a challenge to earn. In Serpent's Tail, there is no task that costs more than 100,000. Yeah, which should be way easier to do. Alright, so let's see what we do have with our mayor, what we've already unlocked with him. Of course, we have the water tower. This is one of the first tasks that I did. Then the wind generators, as well as power station, which of course unlocked all the electric stuff in the hood. Then of course we had telephone line, internet provider, and community service. Yeah, that was something that I later on decided to make in more details. And of course, the road. But Blackville is far from being finished. You can see that I don't have any auto station, nor airport or harbor, but I do have railroad and docks, which you may have already seen on the general overview. Yeah, that is it. Now I suggest we go to the community lots to see what we do have. Let me just zoom it out a little bit. Yes, that is all the lots that we have in Blackville so far. Whew, quite a lot. I'm not sure if it makes any sense just to show each one of you, because we just have a bunch of names here. It should not tell you anything significant. Maybe you can just see that I have almost all of the municipal lots, but fire station, courthouse, and military base, intelligence headquarters. And I don't even have post office. Yes, that's because I added that rule regarding the regular bills later on. So I did not even play like that with my Blackville. Then let's go to my residence to see who we have in the hood. You may already see that we have a graveyard, which includes how many? 8 deceased Sims. Huh. As for all the other members, well, there's a lot. I think it's more than 80, yeah, something like 80 plus playable Sims. And I suggest we take a look at each household today. Just for the hell of it, why not? You can see this is the way I keep track of my apartments and some other institutions, like female dormitory, because I run a university in my main neighborhood. And yeah, this is the way I divide all of my houses into separate, well, sort of streets and districts to have a clearer picture of where everything is located. Alright, other than that, let's go to the careers so that you can see what I have already unlocked. Yeah, it's way less convenient this way when they are all together. I'm pretty sure I have a bit more careers than I decided to do for my challenge on the channel. And yeah, as you can see, I have only the basic ones. If I was closer to completing the mayor's tasks to get the bronze reward, I still had a long way to go with the careers. Alright, and as for the legend, it's just a handy reminder for me to remember what means what. Alright, let's go back to the game. So here we are back in Blackville. As you can see, I have not added any subhoods, because that's just the way I like to play it. I don't like having a separate downtown, university, shopping district. Why do you need to have that when you can have all of that at your hand? I'm not even sure what to start with, because there is a lot. So let's take a look first at the stuff that I've unlocked. So you can see this is the harbor, which according to my rules unlocks it's not harbor, it's docks, yes. Something that imitates the trading activity here in the hood. And same was for the railroad. Usually you only need one of those, either docks or railroad, but I just wanted to have both of them because, come on, it's a train, who doesn't like a train? And I thought it would be really cool to have like a small train station here. Then you can see this is a power station that we could see in the template. And before that we had wind generators and the same water tower that we already have in Serpent's-Tail. Then you can see that the whole neighborhood is kind of divided into districts. So here we have a small like agrarian district with the garden club, of course, our farmers farm, a small residential lot with tiny lots like that, and something closer to governmental stuff, with the shopping district being here. Here we have like an uphill for the rich sims that live here, and here is a separate nook for the Black Academy, which is of course a university here in the town. Starting with this university, let's take a closer look at everything. So first of all, of course, is the Black Academy itself. It's a university that cost me 60,000. Yes, because position 6 in education cost exactly that. And it's the first one that has something to do with universities. So why don't we go ahead and load the Black Academy? Well, it is kind of empty here. It's not an empty shell, of course, but still we have only basic layout here. No interior whatsoever. Just the wallpapers and the walls. And you can see that it was created with a lot adjuster application that allows then to have like a connected separate lot, because I wanted to have different wings for this university here. And for the entire district here, I tried to kind of go with the same style to simulate that well, it was built at one time. There isn't much to this lot because it is a community lot which costs well, almost 80,000, and my idea was that the students could just come here to study some skills, so maybe hang out and just do stuff like that. That is it. Yeah, we don't have any interesting basement to show you, so let's take a look at other buildings that we have in this district. Well, if there is a university in town, there are of course some students, and that's why I have these two dormitory lots here in the hood. And yeah, that's the way a lot adjuster works. It allows you to make that kind of look. So I have male dormitory, but there is no one living there at the moment. And of course the female one, so let's load that one. Alright. So at the moment here we have 3 of our female students, and each one of those was born here in the hood. So yeah, these were not newcomers. I'm not sure if you want to know like a detailed story of each and every one of them. I really like this one, who is Camilla Gavannis. She was, well, she is the daughter of the cafe owner here in the town. Whoa, that's quite a lot of rumors. Let me close that. Then we have Abigail Goodman, who is the daughter of a toy maker in town. And this one is just a townie that I could not get rid of because this is a dormitory, so that it gets filled with all these stupid university townies. And the last one is Marlene, right? Yes, Marlene Melrose. She is a witch in the hood. Well, she is a daughter of a witch in the hood. But she's also a witch, of course. Yeah, because back when I was playing this hood, I had a special system for running magic. I wanted the magic system to have more sense, so that our warlocks and witches had to pay a more significant amount of resource to be able to cast spells. So the idea was that to cast a spell, they would spend their 1 day of their lives. That would make each spell much more valuable. But of course, there was a way to replenish those days, and that would depend on aspirations. So, for instance, for the knowledge aspiration, if a witch or a warlock taught some other sim a skill, they would gain 1 day back. And so on. For Roman sim, it was each new sim that they woohoo would give them, I think, 3 days, and stuff like that. So it wasn't a well thought out system, so I abandoned it, but I think it has some potential if you think through it a bit better. Something's wrong with the doors here. Oh yeah, of course. Let's take a look at the lot itself. That is how it looks. We just have a separate kind of like canteen area, but we have no chef here, so the girls cook themselves. Nice cozy common room with just some bookshelves and computers for them to work at, and of course each one of them has like a separate room. Nothing out of the ordinary, but it's enough to run the whole university here. And these paintings were painted, of course, by the students who lived here. So yeah, and it was way shittier when I started it. This is what we bought with the scholarships that other students got. Okay, so nothing really to show you here anymore, I think. Oh yeah, and I had this area here designated for the... I think I can show it to you like that even. Yes, now it's better, I think. So I had this whole backyard area which I wanted to fill into, but I did not get to it. So yeah. And the male dormitories, well, you can see it has identical layout, and in fact it is. So like everything is just the same. The only thing that is different is the interior, of course. It's more like manly and messy. But basically it's just the same. Alright, let's go back to the hood. Other than that, we have an apartment lot here. So let's load just that. With 2 families. And this one, Althor, was a newcomer, which turned out to be a pretty dumb idea, but let's see. Alright, here we are at his apartment lot. And as you can see, it is already summer, so actually I played him all the way through Season 1. And yeah, his name is what? Linus Althor. Yeah, he was the newcomer for this round. I think one of the only one I had this time. Yeah, so this is the way it looks. Each one has 2 apartments. Again, just a very basic building, which was kind of supposed to imitate a dormitory room, a very fancy dormitory room, all right, for like my rich sims that would come here. And of course, we have like the swimming pool to do all the student partying, even with some sauna, and all just cool stuff to hang out. Even the jacuzzi. Whoa. So yeah, probably regular students would not be able to afford it. I think it was created by the mayor from the mayor's funds, and it calculated to the university budget. But let's go into way more detail than I wanted to with this video. I'll cover more on that when we have the university in Serpent's Tail. So that is it, and the other sim that we have here is the Sheremet girl. Let me actually go and introduce to neighbors. Why not? Nope, she is sleeping. Alright. So we will not be able to see her. But anyway, that is it. And the last lot here in the academic district is this residential lot. But don't be fooled. This is actually a municipal lot. A municipal lot for the school. Well, it's not private school. Actually, it is just a school. But let me just explain to you. So first, when I played Blackville, I created these regular schools. And back then I even separated them for to unlock school for children and to unlock school for the teens. Yeah, it was... The early versions of my rules were way more complicated than they are now. So I created these lots, and you know what? Oh, and we will need to load our owner here to go them. Yeah, so back then... okay, I will need to go even into more details. So, in my earlier versions of the rules, I had like a council system. So there were 5 council members, each one responsible for different areas. One of them was an education secretary or minister, and he was Jeremy Dunhill. And so he was supposed to actually build these lots and to be the owner of them. Yeah, it was overcomplicated system, which I abandoned later on. But yeah, these were just the regular lots that we'll take a closer look a bit later. And for now, I suggest we move back to the academic district and take a look at the private school that we have here, under the Carlin household. So here it is, our private school, and the idea I had for it was kind of like a boarding system, so that all the members that got into private school could come here, be accommodated, and, well, have their school life combined with their regular activities. So yeah, that was the system that I came up with. So far it's not fully built, but that's what we have. So we have a place for the private students to live. One of them is another daughter of the kind of the mob boss here in the hood. The other one is a son of our second mayor. Oh, they have just grown up and became students. So I was supposed to move them, I think. Yeah, the next, again, this is one of the households that I've already played, and they were supposed to move to the dormitory when I started the next round. Let me just change the time of the day. Yeah, this one is the school itself, and again, I wanted to have a second and even maybe a third story here. But so far, just one, because I was kind of short on money. It just has some, one of the classrooms, well, kind of like an art room, another art room, and just a bathroom. That's it, and a canteen here at the basement. But yeah, so far, very, very basic. Nothing interesting going on. And here we have a small house for the headmaster of the school to live in. And in fact, let me see... the tree that we have here. Yeah. So her name is Helen Carlin, and she is the mother of our current mayor, who is Samantha Black. And Samantha Black is in turn a wife of Conan Black, the son of the first mayor. And as you can see, she is the mother of our Matthew Black here. We'll take a closer look at their lot just a bit later. And the system behind the private school was pretty straightforward. First, any family who wanted their child to be enrolled here would have to go through the default way, that is to invite the headmaster, have a dinner, talk to him, and yada yada yada. Then I would move in the child himself or herself here. After that, the parents would just pay like a set amount of money. I think it was 1,000 per round. Then they would live here, grow up, and once they do that, they either come back to the parents' house or live somewhere by themselves. Maybe they enroll in the college and live in the dormitory. Well, it would depend on the sim itself. I'll have a similar system running in Serpent's-Tail, but I think it will be way cooler. So nothing really to show much here, I think. So let's go back to the neighborhood view. Yeah, I apologize if the video is a bit all over the place, because there's just too much to show you, and it's really difficult to see what's the best way to do that. But anyway, I've already mentioned our mayor, right? And here is the town hall, of course, which, according to my rules, unlocks the political career. And we can even go and take a look at it. Well, so far, this was another shell, though there is something inside, but it's not much. So yeah, we only have this room here. Its main reason is to hold any wedding ceremonies. Other than that, we have like a hall here with registration area, some separate offices for the politicians, maybe for the city builder, But other than that, there isn't much really to show you. You can see everything right here. And it costs 100,000 Somalians, which should unlock, let me calculate that real quick. First 4 levels of the political career. Yeah. Alright, let's go back. So, as already mentioned, we have a second mayor already in the town, because the first one is resting in peace at the cemetery. So, in fact, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Here it is, just a tiny lot meant to be the cemetery here. You can see here is like a small spot for all the pets in town, and here we have divided spots for different households. This one is Frank Sniper. No, that's not. That is not our mayor, because our mayor resides here in the what do you call that? Mausoleum? No, that's not mausoleum. Well, this thingy here. And his name was wait, no. Huh. That is the first mayor's wife. And where is the mayor himself? Of course, yeah. Here he is. He's just arrived. So Adam Black. Yes, that was his name. So he is supposed to go there, next to his wife. Adam Black was the very first sim I created for this neighborhood, and back then I had another channel where I shot everything that was being done here in the hood, but it was in Russian, and I made like I think 10 videos or so, and then I abandoned it. Yeah, some of my viewers, I know that they are Russian speakers back from the time when I had a Russian speaking channel. So yes, here is the Adam Black you might remember from all that time back. So there isn't much to tell you here, because, well, it's not filled with the Sims yet. Yeah, there was still a lot of dying and killing to do. Yeah, there isn't any rule or system to this. Just whenever a Sim died, I would put them here, but the lot itself was built with the mayor's fund. And it is considered to be a municipal lot too. So my mayor, my current mayor here in the hood, would also pay 2,400 as a maintenance cost. Alright, go back to the neighborhood view. Okay, then, if we take a look at other municipal lots, just to be done with that. Here we have a hospital. I'm not sure if I built anything in there. Let's check. As you may guess, hospital of course unlocks a medical career here in the hood. And so far I have 3 positions unlocked. My idea here was to then later add these ambulance vehicles. I mean, just look how cool it would be. Yeah, but the thing is that each one of them costs like 30,000, so I decided to wait a little bit until I have spent all this amount with the mayor. Yeah, it's just another shell so far. Again, just a basic layout, so that I don't forget what I wanted to have here. So this would be like the main entrance, and with like a registry area. These were supposed to be bathrooms. And here the idea was that all the ambulances would come to this like receiving area, and then this would be like the emergency what's it called? ER, emergency resuscitation, right? Kind of like a surgery for all the urgent cases. And the rest would just be some like regular doctor offices. I don't know what this was supposed to be, but yeah. And I also like this idea of having like an area for the patients to walk. So I wanted to add much more plants here, of course some trees, bushes, that this would really be a nice place for you to, well, stroll if you wanted to. Okay, so that is it for the hospital. Let's go back. Another municipal lot that I had is the police department. Yes. Let's take a look at it. As you may guess, police department unlocks the law enforcement career. And so far I spent 60,000, which of course unlocked 3 positions, right? Yeah, it's a really tiny lot for the police department, I think, but it's enough for a small town like that. So again, we have just a common area with some registration. This was supposed to be like the jail, and then just some offices for the detectives. This was supposed to be, I think, the office of the chief of the police department, and yeah, and this, of course, the interrogation room. Again, so far this is just another shell, but I think it has it had a great potential. Though in Serpent's Tail, I think I would make a police department into a residential lot, so that we could combine the prison with the police. Yeah, I think that would be way cooler. But we'll see how it goes. Okay, so that is it for the police department. Of course, one of the first municipal lots that I built was building company. To be able to build all of that. I think this is... Yeah, this was the first municipal lot that I built. No, the second, because the first one was like a gathering spot that served as a town hall. So let's take a closer look at the building company. For some reason we have it at night. I think that's because building company was once a responsibility of a city planner. Like I told you, I had a council system running in the hood, and there was a city planner who was supposed to build the building company to start building all sorts of stuff in the hood. And yeah, he owned it. Just a tiny house, kind of like an office for all the architects. You can see these old drafting tables, small, like, again, registry room, and the... Oh, yes! I even had, like, the pictures of all the projects that the architect did. So the wind generators, the building company itself, and was there anything else? Huh, there was supposed to be a water tower too, I think. So yeah, I thought that was a cool idea to hang them all here. Yeah, that's the plus of owning a business lot. You can place all sorts of stuff here on the lot. Yeah, just another office for the creative architects in the town. And this was my experimenting with the roofs to make some sort of an interesting shape. Not sure if I was successful at it, but I think it worked. Yeah, and later on I wanted to add more trees to have some sort of like an alley. And so far it costs 40,000. So we have in Blackville only 2 architecture positions unlocked at the moment. That is it for the building company. Then, what do we have next as a municipal lot? Well, we have this central park here, of course. Yeah, let's load it. This is, well, a park. So a place where people can go just to chill, maybe get a snack, play some music or sing here. I also had some stands for the, what do you call that? Also some easels. Yeah, just a regular place to relax. Oh, and I really like the way that the neighborhood decoration kind of blends in with the fence I have here and kind of the road. And also the arches here. So yeah, the only thing I don't like is the way that these flowers at the beach lot look. But what can you do about that? Well, other than delete them, of course. Yeah, that is it. So let's go back. And well, since I mentioned the beach lot, let's look at it too. Well, there isn't much going on here because I think it was left unchanged since the time I first created it during the first round. So yeah, just some rocks, some planting here, and a small cabin, which even... which first serves a purpose to hide the telephone booth, and it took part in the story that I shot back then. I didn't even use it for The Sims 2 Kitchen Refrigerator. As you can see, there is no invisible pond here. They would just go here to chill, to swim in the ocean. Yeah, this was back from the time when I didn't have any road, because I still have this one here. Okay, that is it for the beach. Other than that, I don't think I have any other municipal lot. Let me just double check. Oh, well, we do have a publishing house, but this one at the moment is an owned business. Where I sell books, newspapers, but I made it look that it's kind of like a part of this building, which is of course a neighborhood decoration. So yeah, the way I imagine it is that this is kind of a typography where they would print the newspapers and all the rest of the stuff. And here is a small shop for my journalist to sell books and stuff like that. So yeah, here you make newspapers and here you sell them. Then, what do we have? All the rest are the business lots, I believe. Garden Club is also, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it is owned by Thomas Green. So yes, I think I've showed you all... No, wait, no, there is one more. A laboratory, of course. Let's take a look at it. Well, this one is very basic. I was kind of lazy with the building, as you can see here. And the idea for the laboratory was, the rule I tried to implement is that I can start building robots, I mean the servos, only once I have this kind of building here in the hood. And this tree is not supposed to grow like that. Though, I must admit, it looks kind of cool. As you can see, very basic, nothing going on here, and it cost 30,000 to unlock first 2 positions in the science career. And that was the last municipal lot. Let's go back to the neighborhood view. The only logical thing left to do is, of course, take a look at each and every household and visit the business lots they may run. And I suggest we start with the expensive lots here. And let's start with the Black household. In fact, this was the mayor's mansion before, as you can see. That's why it's called that way. So my Adam Black would live here with Beatrice Black. They would give birth to that dude here and that other dude there. So yeah, let's load his lot. So with the mayor's mansion, I was going for some sort of like an expensive, exquisite mansion. But I didn't want to go too much with it. So that's why I have only, I think it's 2x2? Yeah, it is a 2x2 lot. Maybe 2x3? Whoa, no, it's a huge 3x3 lot. Whoa, who would have thought? Yeah, that is it. It's just a 2-storied building. Like that. We have kind of like a hall, a living room, a kitchen, because my Adam Black was fond of cuisine, as you can see by the plate here. Then there was this study for the mayor, small bathroom, and here are all the bedrooms. And the mayor's wife was the owner of the sewing shop. That's why we all have here. And her son, which is Malcolm Black here, kind of continues her business. So he is now running the clothing shop. And our Malcolm here and his wife, is she his wife already? Yeah, she is. These two are the first generation of the local Sims. Yeah, so they were born by the well, of course, Malcolm was the son of the founders that I made, and then he married the girl who is a daughter of the newcomers at some point. Yeah, and their daughter here, that's daughter, right? Yeah, Penelope Black, is in fact a second generation in the hood. Yeah, it took me way longer to develop the town because of the lifetime span mod that I had. So we'll have it much quicker in Serpent's-Tail, so don't worry about that. So that is it. Our, what's her name? Anne? Is she Anne? Yeah, no, she's Trish. Trish Black is a university guest lecturer. So so far, she's the most advanced sim here in the town, being employed at the education career. You know what? Let's go to Malcolm's shop so that I could show you the clothing store. All these doors become messed up. I wonder if he can go through them. Huh, he can. So let's go. He was rich enough to buy a car for himself. So let's go somewhere. Yep, here we are at the clothing shop. So that is how it looks from outside. And yeah, with all my sims, I kind of made maybe a color code. So if it was a black family, they would incorporate some black color, maybe in their house, in the businesses they run, and even in the clothing they would wear. So if you can take a look at Malcolm here, he wears a, well, kind of red jacket and black trousers. The same was for all the rest. Let's take a closer look at what we have. And it's a small shop. Here we sell the clothing that he makes by himself, as well as the regular clothes, because I can do that now since I have railroad and docks in the neighborhood. And the second story is just room for these, what do you call them, dressing cabins, and his sewing table. Yep, so far it's, yeah, it is rank 10. So we got all the way here, and yeah, that was our clothing shop. They don't run anything else, or let me check, do we have another lot run by him? Because this one is a clothing shop. Do we have a sewing shop? No, I remember I used to have one, but then I got rid of it. So yeah, nothing more to show you with the black household, with this black household. We have another one, so let's go back. So the other household living here in the uphill is the Sheremet family. Here is the Sheremet household. This is, in fact, the mention of my criminal boss. Yeah, I have a whole system of criminal activities in my rules, so if you want to know more, go check out the guide that I attached. And these are the Russian family that run, of course, all the crime here in the hood. So far, the house itself is not that exquisite, but I, well, did my best. Whoa, hello there, Alexander. Now let's take a look at the Sims themselves. So this one is Roman Sheremet, and he is the actual crime boss. You can see that he is employed at the maximum level possible at the moment, and he also runs two business lots, which are the commission shop, kind of like a pawn shop that we have with Alfred in Serpent's Tail, and he also runs a Russian sauna. That's his wife, who is employed in the business career, because we already have a company in the hood, and their son, let me just change his clothes real quick every day, who's also messing up with the criminal career here. So far he is, yeah, he is a teen, and I decided not to send him to the college. Yeah, so, like, the story here was that he is not actually their son, because if we take a look at the family tree, he is a son of Roman's sister. So when she died and then turned a zombie, I'll show that later. Of course, the uncle took care of his nephew here, but he made it, of course, for his own needs. So if his daughters are well provided, they went to private schools, and his Julia Sheremet is already in university. Poor Alexander is kind of the employee of his uncle. So he runs all the dirty business in town. And actually the way I run it is that Alexander would sometimes go to community lots, and with a special mod he would try and pickpocket all the citizens in the hood. It's pretty fun to do. We'll also have that in Serpent's Tail, just you wait and see. Other than that, I think, well, we need, of course, to show you the lots that we have. So let's go to the sauna that we have. Yes, here is our Russian sauna. And by the way, my game just crashed when I tried to load it. Yeah, at this point it was getting a bit harder to, well, handle the town this big. And this household was always one of the glitchiest ones, so yeah, that was to be expected. So as you can guess, this is a sauna. So a place where guys can come to get some nice steam, maybe swim in the swimming pool, get a massage, and simply hang out. And this was, I think, the first business that Roman ran here in the hood. So he made lots of money with the cash rewards, of course. And then he proceeded to make a commission shop, which is commission shop slash hideout, a place that is responsible for the criminal career. Nothing more about the sauna, so let me go to the commission shop instead. On the surface, it's just a commission shop in a shitty neighborhood. And yeah, of course, the doors are messed up. Is that? Yeah, that's because of the signs here. So yeah, this is the place where he would have his customers. They would come here, bring their stuff, and he would then sell it 3 times more expensive. But the interesting thing about this lot is that we have this shelf that leads to the basement, which is the stuff where he does all his shady business. So we have, what do you call that? A counterfeiting machine, some shitty computers, a poker table, some planting that he does of maybe illegal substances. Of course, the reward that he gets for the criminal career, so the lie detector machine, some punching bag. So yeah, just a hideout for him to hide in. And the way I usually run it is that he comes here with his wife, and while she runs the shop itself, he goes into basement and counterfeits all the money here. So it works that the commission shop is kind of like the legal business that serves the purpose of laundering the money that he creates with this machine here. That is the system I run here. It costs 75,000, so we have level 3 in criminal. Yeah, that is the reason why our Roman here is employed at level 3, because this is the highest available position in crime. Alright, that is it for the Sheremets household. Let us move next. Another household here on the uphill is the Browns. So that is what their mansion looks like. Another 2-storied building, but with a basement here for the car and for some other stuff like the robo making stations, the gym equipment, and maybe something else later on. What is interesting about this household is that Christopher Brown here is the only living founder that I have. Though he is about to die, I think. Maybe even right now. Though, doesn't matter right now, at the moment. And his son, Caden Brown here, who is, I think he's a scientist, yes, he's a lab assistant, but he also owns a Robo Store. So where he sells all the stuff that he creates himself. So he was the first child born in Blackville. By this point he has married, what's her name? Emily Brown. And she adopted his mother's business. So she started to run Pottery Store. She already has the Golden Talent badge. And so this family runs 2 businesses, a Robo Store and a Pottery Store. Yeah, they have a child, or they had her. I think it was a daughter. Yes, Chloe Brown, whom we could have seen at the private school. So yeah, that is it. I'm not sure if we need to go to their businesses because there isn't much going on there, but yeah, why not? Let's go there. Oh yeah, of course, before we leave, I've forgotten to mention the vertebra here that we have. The first servo in the hood. Though I'm not that keen on different paranormal stuff, like androids or witches or any stuff like that. But this time I decided to make one, because why not? And according to my rules, you can start making servos only once you have a laboratory in the hood and a power station. So those are the reasons to build those in the hood. Alright, now let's go to the pottery. Here's what our pottery store looks like. Nothing special, just a tiny 1x1 lot with a small shop here. Okay, and of course it is level 10 too, because it was one of the first businesses here in the hood. So yeah, it would be weird if it wasn't at level 10 by this point. Okay, now we can go to the Robo Store. And this one is even more basic. Once again, a 1x1 lot with all the bots here available with every color possible. Alright, so that is pretty much it for the brown household. So let's go to the next one. The next and the final household here on the uphill is the Ruby household, though the household name is not correct. It had to change, but never mind. Well, if this wasn't a pain in the ass to shoot. Believe it or not, this is like my 4th or 5th time trying to record this, because before that, the game would inevitably crash. I don't know what the deal is. Probably this particular lot has been corrupted. There may be a way to fix it, but for my purposes of just showing you the hood, I had to... It was enough for me just to load a previous backup that I had. So we are currently in winter year 3. As you can see, this current lot is kind of like a, I don't know, gothic mansion? At least that's something that I was trying to go for, to get at least some kind of a gothic vibe. I'm not exactly sure if I was successful at that. Some decisions do look rather off to me. But in general, it looked okay, I would say. Though I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, that shouldn't be there. That's what the lot looks like from the outside. Let's take a close look at each story one by one. So at the top here we have like a highest tower, and this one is a bedroom for the servant that we have there. I will show her to you just in a second. Then one story below that we have the bedroom of this little girl, who is Vivian Melrose, or Ravenna Melrose, sorry for that. At this point she's just a child, but in spring we already could see her as a teen. And let me just change her into everyday. My inspiration for her was Wednesday from the Addams Family. That's why she has these ponytails. And yeah, she's just a pupil so far, though I believe I enrolled her in private school. So yeah, we just have her bathroom, her bedroom, bathroom next to her. Then, below that we have our master's bedroom, and here we have Cassandra Melrose, another witch here in the town. In fact, she is the evil one, I believe. Yeah, she's the evil witch. And if we look at her family tree, you can see that she has a sister here. These two were the newcomers in town, and each one had like an interesting story to them. So Cassandra became one of the witches. Next to her bedroom, we have like a fancy bathroom with a hot tub and some sort of a study here for them to be able to pay the taxes. Then we have the main like living room with the kitchen and stuff. And as you can see, everything is really dark. And can I turn on this all lights here? Yeah. This is the main room, main living room with the kitchen and all the rest of the stuff. And here we have this servant I was talking about. Let me just change her into everyday. Here we have Natasha Sheremet. I've already showed her to you briefly when we were looking at the Sheremet family. To get this story here, we need to go one layer deeper into the basement they have in this mansion, because this is kind of the layer of the witch here. And here we have a prison cell for, well, kind of a slave they have in the town. His name is Lucas Macmillan. So the story behind this family was that our Cassandra was involved with Agatha Ruby here, another witch in town. In fact, she was the first one here. So together they would run a magical shop, and so they made a lot of money. With that amount, they built this castle and lived here happily together. Until the time when Cassandra got involved with Lucas. If we take a closer look at her memories, we can see that she went steady with him, she tried to... Well, she had a horrible date with him. Anyway, they had some sort of story between them. Lucas here, since he was since he is a fortune sim, was kind of an opportunist. So he got involved with Cassandra only because of her money. In his opinion, it would be nice to be living in this sort of mansion instead of living in some simple shack there. And he was the artist in town, so he would run an art store. And in fact, he was pretty successful at it. I think he already reached like level, what? Well, he definitely reached level 10 and yeah, he would earn some money too. But since he was so young and successful, he did not really want to settle with Cassandra. So at some point he got involved with Natasha Sheremet. And you may already guessed, Cassandra spotted them. So that's what we can see in her memories here. That she caught them cheating, Lucas stopped being her friend. Though before that, she already had a child with him. So Marlene here, that we could see at the female dormitory, is the daughter of Cassandra and Lucas in the basement. So once Cassandra caught them cheating, she got so mad and pissed at both of them that in the heat of the moment, she just killed Lucas and Natasha. And I imagine that at that point, her mind kind of slipped and she just imagined that a simple death was not enough for them. So, being an evil witch, she resurrected both of them, just to torture them more. So, Lucas became her permanent slave here in the basement. And after his resurrection, he has no memory, of course, and the only thing he knows how to do is, of course, to make the paintings for Cassandra. And since she was involved with Lucas, she of course inherited his art store. So at the moment, our Cassandra is the owner of Lucas's art store, though she cannot really paint. Yeah, she has like creativity level 0, but she sells the painting that Lucas produces here. And just to tease her rival here, she also resurrected Natasha to kind of torture her. Natasha doesn't really go to the basement here. I think she doesn't even know that it exists. So I think at some point it will be really interesting to kind of let her in to see what if they would remember each other maybe. But yeah, that was just the ideas I had for the future that I did not have a chance to develop here. Anyway, that was it. So we had one slave here producing all the paintings for Cassandra's shop, and another slave just taking care of all the things here at the household, so just doing the regular chores like cooking the dishes, cleaning all the mess, and just the rest of the stuff. Oh, an interesting thing that they have the prisoner tags here in their inventories, so we would not be able to see these two guys anywhere in the town. So they would just stay here permanently. So as for this girl here, Ravenna, she's also daughter of Cassandra, but her father is another fountain sim, Frank Snapper. Yeah, he was kind of like a womanizer here in town. So yeah, so far Cassandra has two daughters. Marlene? Oh, yes. Why isn't Marlene here? Because when all this stuff happened with Natasha and Lucas, Cassandra's girlfriend at that time, Agatha, kind of realized that her friend was going nuts. She took Marlene with her and they kind of fled. Agatha tried somehow to save her friend's daughter from the bad influence she would have on her. And we'll be able to take a closer look at them later on. So yeah, this is kind of the main plot here between them. And what I had in mind is of course to continue playing with this Ravenna here and perhaps to make her into a witch too. And then it would be up to her to decide what to do with these two, whether to have a mercy on them and finally let them die in peace, or who knows, maybe she would become even a more evil witch and exploit them even more. So with that covered, let's go and actually take a look at the art store that Cassandra now owns. So here is the art store. This is what it looks like on the outside. And inside, so far, we have no paintings, I believe. Though she does have some in her inventory. See, what I would do, of course, I would, just like in Serpent's Tail, I would take all the paintings from her inventory, put here, and then sell it. Let's see, how much would it cost? The paintings that were created by Lucas. Well, not that much, because he still has, like, level 9. But still, good enough for her to earn a lot of money. Yeah. So far, the art store is level 5, and our Cassandra got all the cash rewards. Yeah, I deleted some of the floors, because this is not supposed to be like this. This is pretty much it for this household, because there isn't much to show you. Oh, yes, of course. Since Cassandra is kind of an evil witch, she also messes up with all the criminal guys here. So you can see she's good friends with Roman here, another criminal who will take a closer look Later on, she's even in love with him, and another dude she's in love with him. So Cassandra here is kind of like a hedonist. So just enjoying herself, regardless of the consequences. So she's just a selfish witch. So yeah, I believe that's pretty much it for Cassandra here. I suggest we move on to some other household. And of course I will switch back to the spring the next year, because the rest of the lots should not be corrupted. Yeah, so this was kind of the richest district here in the hood. So that includes these 4 households. And our rubies, of course, are the ones living next to the cemetery. Next, it would make sense to take a look at the other kind of rich district here that spreads all the way here. So this entire street is, I believe, Black Boulevard. Right, yes. Called in the name of the founder here. So let's start in the beginning of the street, right? With the Smith household. So let's load them. Well, the Smiths here are the breeders here in town. So just look at all the children they have. So 3 daughters, 1 son, and they already have plenty of grandchildren. Just insane. So these 2 started as some other newcomers at some point, I believe like around 3 or 4. And so Michael Smith here was, he was a cement mixer. So he was employed at the architecture career. And our, what's her name? Martha Smith was a hairdresser in the town. So at some point they earned enough money to build this this 3-storied house. So there is like a master bedroom here on the 3rd floor, some space for the children here, and the main room with the kitchen on the 1st floor. So nothing fancy, but still it was enough for the time being. So the firstborn was Alan Smith, and at this point he decided to move on with the family. So that he would be the one to inherit his parents' house. Because if I'm not mistaken, these 4, so he's Catherine, Michelle, and what's her name, Dolores, are their children, right? Yes. Dolores, Catherine Brown, and Michelle are grandchildren of these 2. They will die pretty soon. Our Alan here is employed at the business career, and his wife, what's her name, Rice Smith, is a cadet. So she is in law enforcement. Other than that, what else can I show you? Let's go to the beauty salon that Marta owns and take a closer look there. Oh yeah, and the reason the girls are here is that I just moved them in. Before that, in winter, I was playing them at the other household. Okay, here we are at the tiny beauty room. Again, it's rather basic, and another problem here with the door. Again, we just have 2 hairdressers chairs here, some mirrors, some decorations, and yeah, the beauty salon is currently at level 10. And I gotta be honest, this was a pain in the ass to play, because it doesn't cost much to have a haircut, and at the moment I had to pay 6,000 each round. So yeah, it was quite challenging to earn that much here. I had to depend on other sources of income, like selling the paintings and her husband's salary. Yeah, other than that, nothing more here. Again, so Marta was just another business owner here in town. Oh, and she's really close to dying. Oh well, what can you do about that? So, let's move on to the next household. Next, we have the Carlin household, though this surname does not belong to any of them. So, let's take a closer look at them. So, at the moment, we have 2 Sims living here, Nicole Carlin and Domingo Rodriguez. Though neither of them have anything to do with the household name. Because if we take a look at Nicole here, will we be able to see her deceased husband? No, we need to take a look at her son, Derek, and his father. So George Carlin was one of the first newcomers. I think it was like wave 1. He was the one behind building this mansion here. Let's take a close look at it. As you can see, it's all about music. So we have the piano here, all the stuff for that. We have the rewards that George and his son got. And I'm pretty sure one of them belongs to Nicole too. And as you can see, they own 3 businesses. George here was the dude behind the musical club, the company they then created, which is called GnD Entertainments, which stands for George and Derek Entertainments. This was kind of the business that was started by a father and his son, because they are both kind of keen on music. And the third one, I believe, is a lot owned by this dude here. So the story was that this George, first he would marry this Helen Carlin, that is now the owner of the private school. Both of them would give birth to Samantha, but then they split up because George found Nicole, who was also keen on music, and so they kind of shared this enthusiasm between them. Together, they gave birth to Derek, who then married Anastasia Lurks, and they then move out. George was old enough to die, and so our Nicole was left alone at this mansion, inheriting the businesses that her husband started. And then she kind of got involved with this Alfonso here that we have. This dude is he's a romance sim who, again, just took advantage of her being single, rich woman with quite some influence here in the town. So why not? And as far as I believe, yeah, he is employed at Dan's career, though I do not use this career anymore in certain still because, come on, it's not really that essential. Back in the day, the rule behind the dance career was that you had to have the dancing studio. At the moment, I unlocked 2 levels of the dancing studio. Another one, as I told, is GnD Entertainments and the club, which I think we can go and take a look at. So let's walk to lot, community lot with our Nicole. Oh, and yes, as you can see, Nicole is retired because she used to be a secretary in the city hall. Here we are at the club. As you can see, let me show it to you without any snow. That's what it looks like on the outside, and right next to him we have a bar. So we'll take a closer look at it later on. So the idea here was that George came here in town with his friend, and together they started this whole business here. This was divided into. One of them is club, and the other one was the bar. A cheaty way to have this kind of like connected building, but 2 separate businesses. So here we have just some cards, tables with a stage for all the musicians, some billiards, darts, and just some stuff for the guys to come here and hang out. And this one turned out to be one of the first really profitable businesses. So if we take a look here, we can see that we could earn like what? 10,000 just in one day, 10,000 too. So yeah, because let's see, how much does it cost? Yeah, it costs quite a lot, and what you could do here is just come, play some instruments, earn even more money by getting some tips from the customers. And yeah, it was really easy to play this one, even though it was a bit laggy. I'm not sure why, maybe because we had like all these customers here, at least 10 I believe. But yeah, it was pretty fun to play. Oh, and I even tried to make this look as if it really is connected to the other building. So we have like all these doors here. Once George was kind of successful with all this, his musical activity, he decided to, and he had this club at rank 10, he decided to start a company. And that is kind of the requirement for starting a company. You need to be the owner of business at level 10. So let's take a look at what his company turned into. So to do that, let's walk to lot, GnD Entertainments. So here is our, oh wow, this is not supposed to look like this. I believe I deleted some of the wallpapers here. It was some sort of a dark brick here. I don't know, just for the secret, let's change it like that. Can't we change this one? No. Alright, this kind of looks ugly at the moment. Yeah, it looked a lot nicer from the outside, right? This is the lot that is responsible for the business career in the hood. And at the moment, it costs, well, 150,000, which is enough to unlock, what, 5 levels of business career, I believe? The idea behind this lot here was that this is some sort of like a label slash musical studio slash, I don't know, recording stuff. Because it started based on the musical club, right? So what I imagined is that this corporation would turn into local Disney or something, that they would produce all the TV shows that later on when we would have a TV channel in the hood. Also maybe some magazines and all the entertainment stuff. That's why it's called GnD Entertainments. So here we have, at the first floor we have some registration room with some regular stuff to chill out. I'm not even sure what this is. Maybe some room to host your guests. Then on the second floor we have the recording studio with all the instruments and the recording booth, as well as a place for maybe a CEO with private bathroom, just some halls. And on the third store, this was supposed to be like a creative room for all the employees to make different stuff, like producing, maybe even shooting something, recording set too. But rather for making videos or some promo materials, as well as editing it and, well, doing all sorts of stuff like that. Again, it was kind of like a vague idea of what the business could be. But again, this is just a lot to represent the business in the hood. So yeah, this is it for the GnD Entertainments, and the only business left to show is the dancing studio, which of course Nicole has nothing to do with, but since we have her here, why not go with her? I wonder why I don't have any windows on this side. It looks kind of weird. Maybe because I wanted to have some mirrors here. But yeah, probably that's the reason. It's just that I didn't have that much money to furnish it yet. So, of course, it is owned by our Domingo here. At the moment, it costs, what? Only 40,000, so we have unlocked 2 positions in dancing career. Again, to me, dancing is not that interesting of a career, so in Serpent Steel I decided to go all the way and just abandon it, because it's really not that fun to play. I may have a building like this later on, but it would not unlock the dancing career. It really would be cool to have something like a lot where people could come, have like a dancing competition. In fact, that was basically the only mechanic here. Come here, dance, and by increasing your fun, they would get some stars. But this is it for the Carlin household, so we can go and move on to the next household. So let's see, as far as I can see, the bar at the moment is not owned by anyone, so we can actually take a look at it. Yeah, there isn't much to show really. This is just a small community lot. As I showed, it is connected to the club, and well, there is a bar stand, some billiards to play, and just a place to hang out outdoors. It was owned by one of the dudes who got killed. We'll take a closer look at that. But yeah, back at the time, I had the rule that bartender career would be unlocked by this lot too. And as far as I remember, I changed it a bit in my current rules. So yeah, this was just a small lot for the guys to come and get drunk. Nothing more. And this bar was owned by a dude who got involved with the mob. Yeah, his name was... what was his name? Well, his surname was definitely Vineman. To cover this whole story, let us load the Vineman household. It'll be easier then to understand the whole story here. This tiny house belonged to Isaac Vineman, yes, exactly. So he would live here, and he was just interested in music, and he would also own the bar. But at some point, he got involved with... let me see, do we have... Yes, with Clarissa Fox. You can call her like a Black Widow. So she married Isaac Wyman, who was already an old man at the time, to later inherit his bar. But at the same time, she was in love with this dude here, Sebastian Bishop, who is the bagman here in town. And so together they plotted against the Isaac, they killed him, then Clarissa died in fire. Yeah, it was something I was not planned, but it happened unexpectedly, and I decided, why not to go with it. But before she died, she gave birth to Tony Fox, who, to be honest, I'm not sure where he is right now. Whether he was taken by the social worker or maybe he is in this household. Though, again, I'm not sure where he is. Pretty sure he was taken by social worker. So yeah, it was just a sad story of an old man who got involved with wrong people. The dude here, well, he was one of the later sims that I created. Right away when he got here, he was employed at the criminal career, while his brother, Arnold Bishop, is in fact in law enforcement career. So I believe that would be pretty interesting the dynamic here, having two brothers, one of them a criminal, another one being a policeman. So far I got only to the point where they kill the dude, and as far as I imagine, his brother doesn't know what Sebastian is involved in. So that was something for me to cover later on. Alright, so that is it. Let's move on. So let's go back to the Black Boulevard, because in fact, next on the line is the mayor's household, our current mayor. Here we are at the mayor's mansion, if we can call it this way, though it's just a simple 2x1 lot. And this household bears the Black surname because of Conan Black here, who is the son of Adam and Beatrice Black, city founders and of course the first mayor. We already seen Malcolm. Now we can take a look at Conan, and Adam also had a third child, Anastasia, who is now married to George Carlin's son, but we'll take a closer look at her later. So at the moment he is married to Samantha Black, who is the daughter of George Carlin, and she is our current mayor, because before that she was employed at the political career, and so far I've unlocked only 4 levels there. So that's why she employed here and not at the latest career. Both of them, I believe, are fitness enthusiasts, right? Well, fitness, and for this dude, it's music and dance. I'm pretty sure he also has quite some body skills. So that's what they found in common. Then they got married, and then Conan here is another businessman who owns. What does he own? Oh yes, he owns the skating rink. And he also owns a couple of apartment lots. So as we can see from their family tree, they already have 3 kids. So Matthew Black is at the private school at the moment, and the 2, I think it's boy and a girl, right? Yes, we have Mark Black, and we have May here. It's a girl, I believe, yeah. Yeah, so far they have 3 kids, and a rather humble house for the mayor, if you ask me. But anyway, let's go and take a look at the skating rink. Oh, we also have a photo of our Samantha when she was a child. So far, she's closer to older years. You can even see some wrinkles. Same goes for our Conan, though his face looks more like it's dirty than wrinkled. So let's walk to lot, community lot, by yourself. And we need to take a closer look at skating rink. So here is the skating rink, which is, well, surprisingly level 10. I did not expect that. Another ticket-based community lot, in a ugly shape. Yeah. And what the Sims can do here is, well, simply skate, have a good time, maybe grab a cup of coffee. As I mentioned, other than this lot, our Conan is also responsible for the apartment block. So let's load that lot. So here we are at the apartment lot owned by Conan Black. As you can see, it's a 4-storied building with an attached community lot here. We'll take a closer look at it later. And yeah, just like in Serpent's Tail, this was my first apartment lot with some kind of like cheap apartments for my newcomers. It's a little bit more advanced than what we have in Serpent's Tail, because we have like a separate bedroom, but each one of them is, well, identical 1-bedroom apartment. Nothing fancy here, just a convenient lot for the newcomers. The rent here would cost something around 1.8 thousand? Is that it? That's not really that cheap. But anyway, this was the apartment. Let's move on. So moving along the Black Boulevard, next we have the Goodman household. Now this lot here is a bit special, because unlike all the other lots here in the town, it was not created by me. I may have just made some small interior adjustments, but the bulk of it was made by my girlfriend, who one day was like, hey, can I build something in your hood? And, well, so she did, which I believe turned out pretty good. At the moment, it is inhabited by Sam Goodman, his wife Ruth Goodman, with their daughter Selma and her husband Henry Goodman. He decided to take his wife's surname. So Sam Goodman started here as a toy maker, so he owns the toy store, and his wife is employed at the culinary career. What's the other lot, I wonder? Oh, yes, and their daughter, she's really into arts and craft. She owns the art store that I showed you before with Cassandra. So yes, by this point, I mean by spring, Cassandra sold the art store to Selma here. So she's now the owner of art store in this point in time. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. One of these buildings is the art store, and the second one is the toy store. So later on we will take a closer look at the toy store. And as for her husband, is he her husband already? Yes, he is. I think he is the teacher here in town. Yes, he's elementary school teacher. So I think we can go right away to the toy store. Let's go there. Yep, and here's our toy store. It's just another one-by-one community lot. And at the moment we have, I believe, all the toys available, right? Well, almost all of them in all of the colors. Yeah, it's rank 10 already. We will of course have the same lot at one point or another in Serpent's-Tail too. But at the moment, like, there are basically no kids, so no point in making the toy store. Alright, let's move on. Next, living at Black Boulevard 5, we have the Gavannis household. Here is the Gavannis household, and this one turned out to be problematic as well, just as with the Gothic mansion up the hill. It just wouldn't work normally, so I had to load the previous winter round. Anyway, not much has changed within this round, so it'll be fine. Here's the townhouse they live in, and to be honest with you, I think this was a mistake that I made it this large and relatively expensive, because I really struggled with paying all the taxes. Let's see how much it costs. Well, even though it's not that much, the guys here are owners of a cafe and a restaurant, and those are pretty difficult businesses to run. Here we have Mario Gavanni. He was one of the, well, early newcomers that came maybe with the third wave or fourth, and from the very beginning he was the one responsible for diner and the cafe-like businesses. Then his relatively young wife was one of the newer Sims that I got, and here we have Mario's daughter. Her name is Rosette Gavanni, and if you remember our Cassandra Melrose, well, she in fact had a sister, Rachel Gavanni, who was the first wife of this Mario. And so Mario and Rachel had two daughters. One we could have already seen when we logged into the female dormitory, so she was Camilla Gavanni, and another one is here, Rosette. So when the father of the household, Mario here, split with his wife, one of the daughters went with her mother, and another one remained here with her, well, young stepmom. Not that close in terms of age, but still rather close. Yeah, I specially created this small garden patch so that my chef in the town always had some access to fresh vegetables and fruits. So now I suggest we go to the businesses they own to see what they have there. And as you can see, we have two, Mario's Diner and a restaurant. So first let's go to the Mario's Diner. It's already a rank 10 business, and as you can see here we sell all sorts of dishes. Well, at the moment it's only the salmon, but that's because it's one of the most profitable things to create. And back at the time, the rules were that a cafe and a restaurant were separate things. I thought that was a good idea, but now I think otherwise. The idea behind the differences was that in a cafe or in a diner like this, you're supposed to sell the dishes just like ordinary goods. And in the restaurant, well, you created the restaurant itself, where you can come, sit, and have a meal. Later on, if you check my guide, you can see that I combined cafe and restaurant into one business lot. So yeah, it costs, as you can see, it costs quite a lot, so it required me to pay at least 7,500 each round. And with the let's see, how much do they cost? I believe that one plate cost around maybe 100 and 150. Once I had all of the cash rewards, and already spent those money on building the lot itself and paying the initial taxes, it was pretty hard to earn that much money consistently. But it was a pretty fun challenge. Though in Serpent's-Tail, I think I'll make sure to make it a little less expensive. Now I suggest we go to the next lot, which is the restaurant. So here is the second business lot. Right now it looks pretty strange to me. Yeah, what was I thinking? But anyway, so yeah, this was a regular restaurant where you could come, order a table and just have a date with your girlfriend or boyfriend. And as you can see, it's currently at level 3. And Mario is not the one who owns it. In fact, it's his wife Jennifer Gavannis. And this was one of the pragmatic reasons why he cheated on his first wife. Because back at that time, his first wife, Rachel, also had a separate business lot, which was, I think, a bakery. And she already had it at level 5, she had all of the cash rewards, but those money were not enough too. So, not to struggle with earning that much money, he just found himself another girlfriend who had those 5 rewards available yet. So yeah, this is one of the examples when the game or a challenge mechanic can encourage some sort of storytelling, which in my opinion is pretty interesting. This is something that I really enjoy about The Sims. So yeah, as you can see, generally it was not that profitable, so just a cash flow of 149 simoleons. This is a pretty ordinary sum they get here. So yeah, running a restaurant and a cafe can be a pain in the ass, and that's one of the reasons why I combine them. Because running them separately like this, especially within one household, well, it's just a mess. Alright, so that's it for the Gavannis household. Let's move on. Alright, now we're back in the spring round. Let's hope that the next household will not be so glitchy as the two there. I mean the Gavannis and the Ruby household. Let's load the Ravenna household. Here we are at another townhouse, right at the corner of 2 streets, the Black Boulevard, and I believe it's something like a Somerset Street? Or, well, something that has to do with the beach, summer, something like that. This household here is just another couple. It's a regular combination, so one of them, name is what? Courtney Ravenna, is a business owner, and in fact she runs another cafe, or rather a pizzeria here in the hood. And her husband, yeah, he's her husband, he's unemployed? Really? I thought he was employed somewhere. Interesting. I didn't expect that. But anyway, this is one of the few households that actually has a pet here. Because, to be honest with you, I'm not that much of a fan of pets for some reason. I don't know, I just don't think they add that much to the gameplay. Even though, like, yeah, they are pretty cute, and once we have a certain municipal lots, you can even employ them at some jobs, which helps you earn a considerable amount of money. Still, I don't really like playing with them. But here I decided that, yeah, it would be pretty interesting to have a small dog here. So yeah, this is just another, I think it's what, 2x1 lot, and we have a pretty small house here. Just 3 stories, with a pretty interesting area here to hang out. Well, the idea here was that eventually I would expand this house so that they could accommodate like a child or 2, or maybe if they wanted to have a family, so that they could move to some other bigger lot. But at this point, no, they're just living by themselves, and they are, well, I wouldn't say they're that old, like somewhere in the middle. Alright, let's go to the lot that our Courtney owns here. And we need to go to what it's called, Ravenna Pizza. Here is the pizzeria that she owns. It is located right next to the apartment lots that I already showed you, and next to the park. So yeah, it's another rather small business lot where we sell the pizzas that come, by the way, with a certain custom content. And I think, yeah, that was one of the reasons why I chose this surname for her, because if I'm not mistaken, that's exactly what you can do. So if you make many group meals, oh no, it's called Ravenna Pizza. Okay, never mind then. But I wanted something similar, like, so that this girl here would like start a brand here in town. That Ravenna Pizza would be something that was famous all around the Blackville here. Yeah, nothing really to show here, just a small shop where you can buy all sorts of pizzas, and if you take a look, you can see that I have 4 of them installed, even though I believe there are more types that are available at Mod The Sims. But anyway, I chose like only 4 basic ones, because they are basically the same, I think they fulfill the same amount of hunger, it's just that they differ in terms of visual looks. Before that, I used to have something like this, or like this, so that the guys would be able to come here and order a table too. But then it was a bit of kind of a mess because there are only two of them available. I mean, Courtney herself and her husband, so it was pretty difficult to run the restaurant, because if you compare her to Gavannis, they have 3 household members. So we have Mario, his wife Jennifer, and their daughter, who also helped in running the business. When you have 3 Sims, it's more or less manageable. With 2, it becomes tricky. So then I just abandoned the idea of having like a restaurant here too. So yeah, this was the Ravenna household. Let's move on. So next we have these 3 connected buildings here. You know, I am a fan of doing stuff like this. I don't know, what do you call that? A semi-detached houses? I just love this kind of structures. So the first one here is Dunhill family. Yeah, I like to recycle both the Sims and the names I come up with. So let's load the Dunhill household. Well, so here we have a pretty big household that contains 2 elder Sims, Mary Dunhill and her husband Jeremy Dunhill. And they are pretty close to dying, I believe. Yeah, I believe they would die even in the end of this round. Then we also have their son here, whose name is what? Charles Dunhill, and his wife. And her name is Betty Dunhill, but you may guess that she used to be a Goodman daughter. So if we take a look, she is the daughter of the guys we already seen. And they already given birth to Alice 1, though it was supposed to be just Alice. Yeah, sometimes I sometimes I make these kind of typos. So yeah, here we have, I think most of them are employed at one job or another. So our Betty here is a businesswoman, executive assistant. Charles here is a campaign worker, though I imagine that he would be some sort of a education minister or something closer to that. That he would be responsible for the private school. So somewhere in that field, because his father, Jeremy, is a scientist, and by my initial concept, he was supposed to be the education minister here in the household, in the town. Because as I mentioned, I had this sort of a council system, and this dude was supposed to be, well, wow, isn't he ugly? But anyway, he was supposed to be the education secretary or minister here. And his wife is another business owner, and she, as you may guess, creates all sorts of bouquets and plants for sale. Their house is pretty spacious, though at this point it's rather empty. I did not do much in terms of interior. So let's go to the flower shop that our Mary owns here and see what we have there. Oh, and of course, yes, since this is the Dunhill household, we have access to the school lots too. So we can see those too. Cool. But first, let's start with the flower shop. So yes, here we have her small flower shop. Looks kind of cozy, though this combination of colors is pretty odd to me. But anyway. So as you can see, here we have all the available types of bouquets. So that was kind of the challenge I gave myself. If you take a closer look, you can see that we have all the variations. So when you make different bouquets, you can choose 2 things. The color of the flower itself, as well as the color of the vase. And so I created all the possible combinations here. And that's just something I tend to do for all of my businesses like this. So yeah, as you can see, it's already ranked 10 because it was, again, one of the earliest businesses I created. And yeah, it is pretty profitable because, again, just the Snapdragon costs over 1,000. Of course, this is a ridiculous expensive price, but when it's this advanced, it's not that difficult to sell all this sorts of goods here. Now we can go to the school lots that I created before I had that private black academy sort of thing. Here we are at the primary school building, and the reason this household owns this kind of lot, which is supposed to be a municipal lot, is again because of the council system that I used to run. So according to it, each secretary or minister was responsible for a certain field. So in this case, it is education. And so the minister would own the corresponding lot. So for education minister, it would be all sorts of schools, colleges. For the security minister, it would be something like police department, and I think you get the idea. And as you can see, so far it's mostly like a shell. I wanted to utilize this system by some logic, although it turned out to be a bit more complicated and it did not really satisfy my needs. But yeah, so far we have just a couple of classrooms here, more or less ready one here. Well, I don't remember doing this stuff. Interesting. And like a small office for the headmaster. And then I wanted to have this like 3 lots here. So we'll have primary school here, then next attached to it the high school, and here they would have something like maybe a gym or a playground. Well, something where they would go for their PE class. I just had an idea that it should be like 3 separate lots, so that when you were playing the kids, you could go to the playground and maybe play there. Not to go to the school lot itself and meet business owner here all the time. Oh, and yeah, another reason why I wanted this to have like a business lot. In my earlier versions of the rules, the number of careers that you unlock was supposed to be represented in the rank that you have. So if you have unlocked the first position, you'd have rank 1. If you have 2 positions in education, it would be rank 2. Yeah, so good that I abandoned this idea. That would just be a mess to keep track of. Anyway, this is it for the primary school. Let's go to the high school. Well, the high school is definitely just a shell here. So it's like a 3-storied building with a separate wing here. I think this was supposed to be the canteen, and here are the 2 bathrooms. And here maybe, I don't know, something here. We do have a gym here at the 3rd floor. Huh. Interesting. So yeah, the idea was just the same. No, I haven't mentioned that. Earlier I wanted to have the separation that in order to unlock school for children, you were supposed to have primary school. But if you wanted to have school for teens, you had to have the high school. Again, an overly complicated system that did not add much to the gameplay. Now I tend to just create one combined school that serves both as a school for all children as well as a private school. Well, I'll show it later when we have it in Serpent's Tail. I think in combination they look pretty cool. I do like this kind of regular style of architecture. Though, yeah, I do have mistakes like this. This is supposed to be like that, yeah. This is it for the schools. Now let's move on to the next household. We have an empty lot here. I don't think I need to show it to you because, again, it's pretty close to the ones that we have here. Owner of it moved out somewhere. I think our Carlin, who is now, well, kind of the owner of the private school, used to live here. Then, at the 3rd lot here, living at Sunset Drive 3, we have the Lark household. Whoa, 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 what's happening here? Whoa, a bell just grew. Cool. So, yeah, this is where these guys live. At this corner lot here, and this household is the combination of the Black household. So here we have Anastasia Lark, who used to be Black, so she was the daughter of the previous mayor, and the dude here, Derek, is the son of George Carlin and well, let me just show you the tree. He is the son of this dude and his wife. This union here is kind of a combination of the richest households in the town. They already have a daughter. Her name is Maria. The son here, I believe he is a businessman. Yeah, he occupies the highest position available in the business right now. Though my idea was that he would then inherit all the businesses, like GnD Entertainments. Well, because D stands for Derek. So far we have only first position locked in music. So both of them are kind of into music. If we take a closer look, you can see that she has the predestined hobby there. Well, he has the maximum enthusiasm in music and dance, but his predestined one is games. So, since his father was a musician, he went into his footsteps. Think of him as kind of like a musical producer / CEO of the label they have here in the town. I don't believe they own anything at this point, though let me check. So yeah, we still need to wait till his mother dies and he inherits everything. I had an idea of creating this sort of conflict between him and his mother's boyfriend. He may devise some sort of a scheme to trick Nicole to maybe write Domingo in the will, so that Derek here would not get the ownership of the GnD Entertainments or something like that. Oh yeah, and it's called Lark because Nicole's first surname was Lark, and she inherited the Carlins surname when she married George. But back at the time she already had Derek, and I just did not bother to change the surname. So that's it for this household. Moving on. The only household left in this district is the Snapper household. Here we have just one sim living, so let's load. Here we have Amanda Snapper, who lives at this sort of beach lot, because she owns the fish store as well as some other businesses. I'll show you just in a moment. And she is the daughter of, let me show you, family tree. She is the daughter of Helen Carlin and the deceased Frank Snapper. So the story here was that when Helen found out that George cheated on her, she kind of went mad, and to make him envy, she got involved with the dude here, who was kind of a womanizer. And the result of that was, of course, Amanda Snapper. She is half-sister to Ravenna because of Frank, and half-sister to Samantha because of her mother. She also has a girlfriend here, who is Cheryl Dunhill. She is the sister to Charles, and, well, of course, the daughter of the guys that we could have seen here in the Dunhill household. So, yeah, her lot is not that interesting, I think. Again, just a basic kind of like a trailer house that allows her to live here next to the beach to be able to catch all the fishes. She's really keen on sports, so that's why we have this stuff here. And yeah, I think she has predestined hobby there. Yeah. But besides that, she owns fish store because her father used to. But besides that, she also owns another lot that is called Bits and Pieces, which is kind of what we have in Serpent's-Tail in Alfred's pawn shop. Let me just load it and see what we have there. So here is the Bits and Pieces. Let me just turn on the light. This is supposed to be sort of like an adventuring store where you can sell all the stuff that you find in the ground or during your adventures. So as you can see, she sells here all sorts of stuff that she finds in the beach, as well as the maps, and of course she also has this treasure here. So yeah, the idea is kind of the same as with Alfred's pawn shop. You sell here everything that you find anywhere, either it's in the ground, in the sand, or while you're hiking. It is pretty profitable. As you can see here, we have a ton of money, though I think that came from the cash reward. This is the Bits and Pieces. Now let's go and see the fish store that she owns too. Here is the fish store that she now owns. Again, it's a very small 1x1 community lot, but it has everything that you need in order to sell the fishes. So we have all sorts of fishes here, as well as the decorations. Oh wow, it's rank 9, but I believe that's because some sims have died, and that's why it's lowered to rank 9. But of course it should be rank 10, because if I'm not mistaken, the fish store was literally the first business that I run here. As you can see, she sells everything at very expensive. Again, we have all sorts of fishes, just like in Serpent's Tail, and yeah, just a regular fish store for you. Now we can move on to the next district. So we can now move to this part of the hood, which is another residential area, but for cheaper houses. I suggest we start with this area here, which is the Greens Farm. Yeah, another recycling of a sewer name, I know. So let's load the Green household. Oh wow, dude, why are you standing there naked? Never mind then. So the Green household started back with the founders. If we take a closer look at the tree here, we can see Elsa Green, who was one of the initial sims that I created. She then married James Green, and they had 3 children altogether. 2 of them moved on to some other lots, and the third one, Thomas Green, is right now living here with his wife, Joanne Hill. This is just a regular country house with an attached greenhouse where they... Oh wow, why is it so bad? Jesus, look at that. This is not supposed to be like that. Okay, So yeah, they have this greenhouse to grow all sorts of vegetables for sale. And Joanna here was supposed to buy the flower shop from Mary Dunhill when she died. So then again, we would have all the plant-related businesses under one household. But at the moment, our Thomas owns two businesses, I believe. Yes, one of them is of course the grocery store, and the other one is the garden club. Well, his father here is just, I don't know, regular guy who would help run the businesses and maybe grow the plants here. He did not like have a very specific job in the town, which I think is like a missed opportunity for me. He was kind of the brains of the town. He has all the skills learned, as well as I believe almost all of the hobbies maximized. So yeah, that's just how I would play him. Yeah, nothing really to show you in the lot itself. Just maybe you can notice the well they have here because of the garden club. Oh, and yeah, I do have the garden club members that come if you call them on the phone. So those are one of the few townies that I have at the moment. You cannot have the garden club without them, unfortunately. Now we can go and look at the lots that they own. Let's walk first to the green grocery store, which is called Elsa's Veggies. What's that smoke, I wonder? Well, I believe they used to be like in bed just before that. Alright, so here we are at Elsa's Veggies. This is how it looks. Another one by one small community lot where, as you can guess, we sell all sorts of fruits and vegetables. We have all the available types of fruits. Well, except that we don't have the different levels. All of them are mouth-watering at the moment. So yeah, and again, it was one of the first businesses that I created with Elsa. That's why it's called Elsa's Veggies. And they just decided not to change the name in memory of the owner here, of his mother. Of course, it's Frank 10 because they have run it for a long time. Okay, lots of customers served. So yeah, that's just it, a basic green grocery store. Let's move on to the garden club that is located next to their farm. By the way, I wonder why I haven't put this store somewhere closer there. I think that would make more sense. But anyway, so this is the garden club, but at the moment it's another shell. Because I did not want to spend too much money on it. But yeah, again, the idea here was the same. You have a lot that unlocks the garden club features in the town. I also wanted to make this sort of place where you can come with any one of your sims and harvest all the material that you need. Maybe a little bit game breaking in terms of economy, but I thought that would be a pretty cool idea. Again, we have another wishing well here, and then this was supposed to be like some sort of area to hang out for those who are interested in nature. But so far, again, it's just a shell. I'm not sure why I had this owned by some family and not make it into a municipal lot. Maybe because I could not decide which secretary would be responsible for something like that. But yeah, at the moment it is owned by Thomas Green, though in Serpentstale we have it as municipal lot, and the mayor is the one who's responsible for it. Okay, so that is pretty much it for the Green household. Let's move on to the next. Alright, so now we have plenty of small houses here. Yeah. So let us start maybe with this side here, and then we'll go like that. So we are starting with we can start with the Hill household. Oh, let's load them. Alright, so here we have another third glitchy household that I have to show you in winter, because otherwise it crashes in like a minute or two. It's just a small 1x1 lot with this 3-storied building where we have 4 sims living. So we have Joe Hill, who is currently employed as paramedic, and then we have his wife, who is a substitute teacher / writer in town. So they earned most of their money by her selling the novels. Then we have their son, John Hill, and we could already see their other child, Joanne Hill. So she was actually the daughter of them and the sister to John. So far he's a history major, but what I imagine for him is that he would be either a criminal or a policeman. I have not decided on that yet. And then we have a third child here, Harley Hill, who is just a school student. They don't own any businesses, but yeah, they just have everything that they need. A small garden patch, Joanne also worked on her skill, so that's why we have this thing here. That is it for this household. Let me log in back to the spring round, and we'll continue with the rest of the households. So we already seen the Vineman household, then we have the bishop. Here we have two brothers living next to each other. Here we had Sebastian, and here we have Arnold's family. So here we have another household that is that consists of the Sims that are employed at some career or other. So Arnold here is a patrol officer, which is law enforcement level 3. Then his wife Michelle is a nurse, and they have two daughters. So we have Teresa and we have Miranda. I guess you can see the idea here that this is a district for the Sims that are employed and that are not that rich. They don't really have that much opportunity to earn a lot of money, because the rest of the levels are locked so far. They have to work at the positions that we have at the moment. Yeah, nothing really to show here. Again, they are pretty generic in terms of who they are. So I suggest we move on to another Dunhill household. So let's go. So Cheryl here is the daughter of the Dunhills, and I believe I played her only one round after she graduated from the university. And she's currently unemployed. I wonder what she does then for her living. Well, she has enthusiasm in sports and fitness. Does she own anything? No. Well then, I may have had some ideas as to where to employ her. Maybe I've written that in her biography. Let me check. Oh yes, I wanted her to be employed at the medical career. But anyway, so first she was just enjoying herself, working on her private life with Amanda. I believe my idea here was for her to move in with Amanda this round. Yeah, that must be it. And then she would help her to run the business, as well as be employed as a doctor. Or maybe some other career, I don't really remember at this point. She owns just a really small lot, so nothing much to show here. A very basic one, well, almost like the one that we have in Serpent's Tail at the moment. Okay, let's move on then. So next, we have the Barnes household. Oh yes, okay, let's load them. Here we have a bit weird household. So let's take a look at them. Yeah, they live at this two-storied house. Rachel here started as Rachel Melrose, a sister to Cassandra Melrose, who is a witch. Then when she married Mario, she became Rachel Gavannis. And then when they split, because Mario found a younger wife, she lived solo for some time, and then she got involved with Barney Barnes, who is a sloppy geek here in town who is into computers and who owns an arcade. At the moment, I believe that Rachel is a drive-thru clerk, yeah, which is kind of weird that she is working at the place that is owned by her previous husband. And her husband, as I said, owns a business lot. So let's go there and take a look at it. Yep, so here is the arcade, or the computer club, that is located right next to the apartment lot that I already showed to you. So again, it's another ticket-based lot where you can come and play some video games. So yeah, we have all sorts of pinball machines here, arcades here, and a ton of computers here to be able to start a competition. And we also have a console here. Currently it's rank 7, and I'm pretty sure he got all of his cash rewards. Yeah, that's why he has that much money, and they moved on to another house, though he used to live here in the apartment. And in fact, Rachel moved into apartment when she split with Mario. That's how they met, as neighbors. Something sparked between them, and that's how they decided to move in together. This was it for the Barnes household. Let's move on. So next we have kind of a gypsy caravan. It does look a bit familiar to what we have in Serpent's Tail, though it's not the same one. So let's load the Ruby household. Another Ruby, yeah. So this is the original one, the one who started the surname in the hood. So here we have another recycling of ideas. Let me just turn on the lights. First of all, of course, yes, the lot itself is pretty much, well, if not the same, it's very close to what we have in Serpent's Tail. Two gypsy wagons. And here we have, guess who? Agatha Ruby. Another sim that I recycled then in Serpent's Tail. I don't know, I just really liked the concept of having like a gypsy witch, even though in Serpent's she's not a witch, but here she was a witch. She was the original one who started like the witchcraft here. So she got her girlfriend at that time. She made Cassandra into witch herself, and they started that whole story with the zombies there. When all of that started, she saved Cassandra's daughter, so they moved in here. Then the daughter grew up to be a college student. She went to live in the dormitory, where she is right now. And besides that, she has these two children. Oh, yes, and they are children of Barney Barnes. So, as I said, I had some kind of a system going on for the witches that based on their aspiration, they were supposed to have certain activities in order to gain, like, you know, magical power, to be able to craft some spells. So, and since our Agatha here is a romance sim, her task was to woohoo with as much sims as possible. And so Barney Barnes was just one of them. If we take a look at her memories here, you can see that she got involved with a lot of sims here. You can just see how much woohoos we have. Oh, even Natasha. Oh, wow, that is interesting. I did not remember that. Was it before or after she became a zombie? I hope it was before. Yeah, it must have been before, because she did not approve that sort of methods. Though, wow. Yeah, of course, the very first one is that she, first memory that she became a witch, then she moved in, she started wooing around. The very first one was Frank, then she kind of refused him. And yeah, for her living, and well, for the living of everyone who was here, she owns a magical shop. So let's go there and take a look. Oh, yeah, we have a photo of Marlene here. Cool. As well as her drawing, I believe. Or maybe it's drawing of some of these kids. Either Hansel or Morris. But anyway, let's go to her community lot. So here we are. This has a rather weird shape, but come on, it's a magical store, so what would you expect? Here we sell all sorts of magical stuff that she can create at her cauldron. So we have all the potions here, as well as all the ingredients. And of course, the stuff that she can create as a witch. Meaning the seeds, the lamps, and so on. The idea here was that she would come as this, she would sell all these things as, I don't know, maybe like healing remedies, an alternative medicine, so to speak. She would be perceived as kind of a charlatan here in the city, though it was all like a facade that to cover her real witchcraft abilities. Other than that, of course, yes, she would sell the legit potions that may have some use in the hood. So yeah, currently it's rank 10, so it was a pretty profitable business, because again, just like with the fish store or the bits and pieces, you don't have to invest any money into creating this stuff here. It does cost a lot, especially with the love potion here, for instance, which costs like what, 600 simoleons? Come on, that's just crazy. This was a very profitable business to run. Right now, I'm not that keen on supernatural stuff in The Sims, though who knows? I may have something similar in Serpent's Tail, though again, I have not decided on that yet. Yeah, it's kind of like a dynasty of witches and warlocks. So maybe when they grow up, they will become warlocks too. So my idea was to have like a whole coven of witches, at least one for each of aspirations. So we already had romance aspiration. Cassandra was the one for we call it pleasure aspiration. Marlene is the one for the knowledge. We needed 3 more, right? So popularity, fortune, and family. Yeah, so I was on the way of doing that. Alright then, with that covered, let's move on. We are finished with Ruby, now we can move on to this set of households here. Kind of cheap houses, partially because they live closer to the wind generators, the water tower, the power station, which is not that pleasant, I believe. Just imagine all of the noise they would suffer. Let's load another green household. Another rather modest house, I would say. And we have kind of similar one here. So just 2 stories, 2 bedrooms, and a place here for the car to be restored. So, and here we have James Green, who of course is the son of another James Green. So Before that, he used to be called Junior. But of course, now that his father is close to dying, he's just now called James. So he is married to Alicia Green, who used to be a smith. So she is the daughter of these guys that I already showed to you. And they already have 2 children. So one of them is, what's his name? Eric Green, who is now a teenager. So he is a school student at the moment because he's pretty young. And they of course have another child who's Heather. So Heather Green has just grown up from toddler, I believe, yeah. The mother of the household, Alicia here, is a teacher, old enough to maybe occupy a higher position, but again, that's what we have unlocked so far. And James here owns a car dealership. That's why we have the car here, because he restores the cars and then he sells them at the shop, which is extremely profitable, up to the point when it's almost game breaking, because you buy them at what? Around, well, I think new one costs 800, right? Yes, new one costs 800, and we will go to the shop and see how much it costs when you sell it. It does take some time to, of course, restore them, but come on, it's nothing compared to how much you get in return. So let's just walk to community lot. This is what his car dealership looks like. So it is located in this shitty neighborhood right next to the Sheremets commission shop and to the typography. And let's see, how much do they cost when you sell them? 9,300, almost 400. So yeah, you see, it's what? 8,400 Somalians of profit. I mean, of course it is a ridiculously expensive price, but come on. You just come here, you have 3 cars to sell, you make dazzle 3 times and you have that much money. More than 20 in just one run here. It's freaking insane. I might need to find some sort of a mod that changes the prices here. That either increase the price of the car that you buy in the first place, or decreases the final price of the cars. The lot itself is pretty much the place for the cars to be stored. In fact, at the moment I can start selling here all the rest of the cars, so including the ones that come by default, because I already have the docks and the railroad. But I did not do that so far because, well, I don't use cars that much, because again, they don't add much to the gameplay. Even though there are some mods that change that, I did not use. So yeah, that is pretty much it for this green household. Let's move on. Next, following the street, we have the O'Neill family. Another lot like that, just with different wallpapers outside. And here we have another member of the green household, because Lily here is the daughter of the Greens. Again, if we take a look at the family tree, we can see that she is the daughter of Elsa and James, and of course she is the sister to James here. Right now she is employed at the dancing studio as the manager, even though she was the one who started the dancing studio in the first place. That's why one of the reasons why we have this ballet thing here. That's what she was into. She started the business, then Domingo came, she kind of got involved with him, and because of that union, she got, let me see, who was that? I think, yes, Violet here. So Violet is the daughter of Lily and Domingo, who is now kind of Alfonsoing around. Then of course they split, and after that Lily got married to this dude here, Jackie O'Neill, who I believe is an architect. He's a bricklayer, so he's employed at the architecture career. Together they got this child here, April O'Neill, of course. It's basically not possible not to name your child April. We already seen the dancing studio, so I don't think we need to do that. The house is, even though it is small, it is pretty packed, I would say. Here I at least pretended to do some effort to make some interesting interior, though I don't think I was that successful on it. But anyway, that's it. They don't earn that much money because, come on, she's just the manager who earns 200 simoleons. He earns even less than that, and they need to pay 3,500 each round, which can be pretty tricky. But that's one of the reasons why it's fun to play them. Okay, that's it for this household. Let's move on. Alright, so next we have the Jenkins household here. Yep, so here we have Leroy Jenkins. Yes, another homage to pop culture, even though I'm not a fan of World of Warcraft. I didn't even play it that much. You may have already noticed that I when I'm stuck with coming up with names, I just use the ones that come from real life. Leroy here is a politician, so he's currently employed as a lobbyist, level 3. Yeah, he lives at this small house here. I'm pretty sure he was just the generic sim that I created to fill in this position in the politics. Though he is dating Rosette Gavannis here. So yeah, I think that was the idea. That later on he would be employed as a politician, he would marry Rosette, who would inherit either a diner or a restaurant. Yeah, maybe there would be some sort of interesting dynamic between Rosette and her stepmom. But again, these are just some concepts that I may or may not have had in mind back then. Nothing much to show here. I suggest we move on. So next, right next to the Jenkins, we have Hill. I wonder why she's called Hill. Okay, let me load her. Oh, yes. Even though the household here is called Hill, here we have Anne Smith. If we take a look at her tree, we can see that she is not connected to the Hill household in any way. And the reason she got that household name is because she and Joanne Hill graduated from the college at the same time. And so when they moved out, I put them together into one household. I believe, yeah, the first one was Joanne Hill. She got into apartment, then I moved Anne to her, and that's why they kind of combined within the one household. So, and I just didn't bother to change the household name for Anne Smith here. She's just graduated from college. As you can see, I have not even played her. So at the moment she's not employed anywhere. So that was my plan for her. Though I believe my idea for her was that she would inherit her mother's beauty salon. Is that true? Yes, that's why she has this talent badge here. Other than that, she's just had some friends here. Nothing much going on for her. Okay, then let's move on. I believe it's the last household, right? Yeah, it must be. So finally, we have the Rolland household. Let's load them. A pretty nice looking, I would say, townhouse. And here we have Pierre Rolland living, as well as his wife, Skylar, and their child, Jean. I wonder if that is a girl or a boy. Perhaps that's a girl, though I'm not sure. Anyway, so it was at this point with Pierre that I decided to abandon my council system. So yes, first I created him as a dude who would occupy the position of culture minister. And back at the time, the culture minister would be responsible for the newspapers, the TV channel, and stuff like that. But then, when I was playing him, I decided to stop using the council members, and so he ended up just being a journalist. And I believe the same goes for his wife. Yeah, they are both employed as journalists because I already have the so-called publishing house, which is a municipal lot, and I have a bookstore that Pierre Rolland here runs. Their house is pretty small, so nothing much to show here. So I suggest we go to the house, to the business lot that he owns. Okay, so here is the small lot that he owns. It's right next to the commission shop and the car dealership. And here, well, I sell books, as well as the books that he wrote himself. Yes, of course, he is a writer too. Good thing I remember that. He writes novels too, if I remember it correctly. Yeah, at least, well, he wrote at least one, that's for sure. And then he sells them here using a mod. Other than that, well, here at the second floor we have kind of like an office, where I imagine they would come up with all the ideas that would come into the newspaper they create. I wonder why I don't have this rack available here. Oh yeah, I do have it here. Yeah, so the Sims can come here to buy the books or the newspaper that is being published here, as well as the journals, of course. That is pretty much it for the publishing house, I think. Oh, and yes, the reason why I put all this stuff here, because back at the time, again, just like with the school, I had the idea that the publishing house would be responsible for the journalist career. And so I wanted the ranks to represent the number of levels available for the journalists here. And not only that, but I wanted the price of the lot to correspond to that. Well, in fact, that's kind of the system I have it right now with municipal lots. So like we have a building company right now that costs 10,000, right? Which means we have position 1 unlocked. When it costs 30,000, it would mean that we have first two positions unlocked, because the first one costs 10,000 and the second one costs 20,000. So I wanted to have the same system here. Theoretically, at this moment, I was supposed to have 3 positions unlocked, but I don't remember what happened here. But yeah, that is it for the Rolland household. Oh wow, we've actually made it till the end. I thought that would last forever. Who would have thought? I guess I have to make some sort of concluding remarks, right? To sum this goddamn long video up. So, here it is. Even though the hood is far from completed, each round and family was a lot of fun to play. Of course, it took a couple of years playing on and off, not consistently at all, sometimes bailing on it for a whole half a year or something, but I regret none of it. Even though it's obvious I'm not going back here, I guess, ever. One of the reasons is that some of the lots are rather corrupted, and I'm sure this would only get worse the longer I'd play. This happened partially because I was rather sloppy with my Blackville. Now I take much more precautions to avoid any issues like that. Just to give you an example, in Blackville, I would do all sorts of crazy things to shoot my stage screens, like moving sims in and out, stopping the time, changing the relations like crazy, and all other things using various mods, and then I would simply play the game after that, hoping that I did not screw anything too much. Well, with such an approach, the game screwed me instead. And besides that, and I guess that's the main reason, I have moved on. If I were to somehow replicate or redo the story and everything behind Blackville once again, I would do a lot differently. And in a way, Serpent's Tail is basically meant to be this replacement that is better in every possible aspect. And as for Blackville, I view it as an invaluable experience that let me finalize the rules to the extent when I'm satisfied with them. And I'm sure they will lead to a pretty amazing gameplay throughout the whole process of Build a City challenge. There have been some other hoods like this one that served as a ground for experiments, but none were as advanced and fun to play as Blackville. And part of the charm of running this hood, at least at the earlier stages, was due to the fact that I published it online too. And, well, there is no point to hide that sharing your stuff, narrating, editing the videos and doing all that sort of things is a whole universe of itself. Though I have never felt so much cringe as when I was rewatching the videos I did back when I was publishing my Blackville progress to the Russian channel. Oh, it was bad. Though I'm pretty sure that in a year or two I'll say something like that about my current videos. But hey, this is just the nature of progress, there is no way around this. So, in a way, this video is meant to be me sort of saying goodbye to Blackville and all of its residents, acknowledging all the good stuff we had throughout these years. Now, with that covered, Dobby is finally free to go back to making Serpent's Tail related content. I hope the video was at least somewhat interesting to you, despite being insanely long, and that you will stay tuned for more. Good luck, and see ya!